everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name's Tamika. This is Library of Tomes, where I talk to you about all the bookish things going on in my life. Hi, welcome back. I hope you're doing great. I am so excited to be here with you today and to be bringing you this list of recommendations. I am so happy to also say that this is a collaboration video with Jessica from Peace Love Books. I love Jess. I have been watching Jessica for a long time. Like, I've been watching Jessica for a pretty long time. I'm sure we all know who Jessica is. The literal pioneer of our romance community. But yeah, I love Jessica. I reached out to her and I said, hey, will you collab with me? And she said, yes. And I said, sweet, can we do this? And we are now gonna be bringing you books that you can read in one sitting, or books that we read in one sitting that we want to recommend to you. These are going to be romances that I've either read in one sitting or books that I think that you could read in one sitting. I tried to mix the list up a little bit. I tried to give you a mix of some darker romance, some LGBT romance, and then also some paranormal romances. So there are quite a few different kind of things on here. So let's get started. I did pick 7 titles. So first up, I want to recommend a dark romance, and that is His by Aubrey Dark. This is a serial killer romance following our hero and our heroine. Our heroine is very like meek and shy and kind of reserved. She doesn't really go out of her comfort zone very often. She doesn't interact with people as much as she should, and her friend dares her to kiss the first person she sees when she sees them that day. So she gets in the elevator and she sees this very handsome man, and he is our hero, who's actually an anti-hero because he is a serial killer. So she kisses him and she asks him to go on a date with her, and he says, sorry, I don't date. She says, okay, cool. And she goes back on her business. She tells her friend that she didn't kiss him just because she is kind of embarrassed by the situation. So her friend decides that that's not good enough and she's gonna have to kiss him. So she gives her this piece of paper and she's like, hey, he dropped this. Can you like go take it to him or like whatever? So she does. She goes and takes it to him, and lo and behold, she walks up to his door and she sees through the window him torturing this person. And he kidnaps her and he says, you're gonna fall in love with me because I don't want to kill you and you can never leave me. So it's their romance, it's their story. I read this in January. It was super quick. It was a super quick read. I listened to this on audio, and I listened to it pretty much in one sitting as well. I was at work when I was listening to this, so it was a very fast read. It was a very quick to get through. The characters are super interesting. The concept is super interesting if you're like me and you love serial killer romances. And yeah, it's super fun. I really, really liked this one. So you should check it out. 20 out of 10 recommend it. Did I think it was a little predictable at times? It could have been. It was a little predictable. The writing wasn't my absolute favorite, so it was like more of a 4-star read, but I still recommend you read it. It's still fun. It's still super fun, super enjoyable. Even if you don't remember the entirety of it at the end of the year, I think it is still fun enough that it's worth listening to. Like, there are some romances I listened to where it was fun and it was fine when I was listening to it, and then by the end of it I'm like, I could have done anything else with my time. But this is one where I know it's not gonna stick with me forever, but that's okay because I had such a fun time listening to it the first time. It was definitely worth it. It's one of those. We knew that I was gonna say a Brianna Hale on this list, right? Like, this isn't shocking to anyone. Cool. So The Black Fox by Brianna Hale. I will not shut up about it. This is a stepfather, stepdaughter Zorro retelling. This is also has cheating in it. This is about a guy named Zacharias, and he falls in love with his stepdaughter Lolita. He marries her mother because he needs a loveless marriage in order to have a normal life, essentially. He has a curse where he is destined to hurt the person that he falls in love with, so he decides to have a loveless marriage. That way he can avoid that. And he hangs up his hat because he is the Black Fox. He's like the Zorro in this world. He kills bad people, and that is like the personality or the persona that he has taken on, and he is retiring at the beginning of the story. Well, Lolita is in love with the Black Fox, but she also hates her stepfather, Zacharias. She also does not like her mother. So it's the relationship between Zacharias and Lolita. This is steamy, okay? So this is a really steamy novella. This one is only about 25,000 words. It's about 100-ish pages. It's super, super steamy. The character development between these two characters in that short amount of time, though, absolutely amazing. I fell for both of them. I fell for both characters, their relationship, their sexual tension. absolutely out of this world, okay? I loved it. It was so good. I cannot recommend it enough. Please go read it. Okay, so next up I have Temporary Wife Temptation by J.C. Lee. I read this in February of last year when it came out. The story follows Garrett and Natalie. Natalie is like the head HR person and Garrett is like going to be taking over the CEO role. But in order to take over that CEO role, he actually needs to get married, and his grandmother is trying to set him up in an arranged marriage, and he says, sorry, I'm secretly engaged. So he has to convince Natalie, who is actually trying to get custody of her sister's daughter, so her niece, that they should fake date, and if they do, like, it will help her and she'll be able to more easily get like this like promotion she needs in order to get custody of her niece. It's their marriage of convenience and also their fake dating situation and then falling in love. I read this very, very quickly. I read this one in like a day and a half because I couldn't sit down and read it all in one sitting, but it's very short. It's very fast to fly through, so you could definitely read this in one sitting. It is super adorable and I absolutely adore these characters. Overall, I just thought this was a really sweet story and I want everyone to read it. So next up we have Faking It by Kay Bromberg. This is following our hero and our heroine, whose names, do I ever remember? No. Anyways, this is following those two people. And the hero is designing a dating app and he is trying to get this dating app off the ground. So then we also have our heroine, who is a struggling actress. She is trying to get a different gig, that way she can like, or she might be a model. She's either a model or an actress. She's a struggling creative person. And she is like trying to get this job. She has an interview and she knocks on the door and it's the wrong door, and the hero actually shoves his dog out on her and he's like, oh, you're late here, and he like shoves his dog on her because he thinks she's a dog walker. So he makes her late for her interview because she can't like get him to like take the dog back, and she has to like chase the dog down the hallway to get it back to him. So she ends up being late. She ends up not having that job, and then he wants to make it up to her, so he offers to like send her tickets to go to this like event for his app being taken off, right? And his investor is there and he is trying to pick a good spokesperson for the app, and he's also supposed to have found love on the app because that was part of the agreement that he would try to use it and he would find love. And lo and behold, they both lie to him because she tells the dude that is the investor that actually she is the spokesperson, but then he counters her and he's like, but actually we're in love and that would be not good for the app. Like that would be very like, you know, it'd be a conflict of interest. And then the person that is investing, the investor, is just like, no, that's an absolutely perfect idea. So then they have to fake date. And they have to pretend like they're together. It's really, really cute. I love the characters and their sexual tension is off the page. It is insane. And the characters are just absolutely adorable together. They are super cute. Their banter is adorable. The writing in the story is super fun. This is a super fast read. I really recommend it. I think it is absolutely so good. And I want everyone to read this one too. This one's super, super good. So next up I want to talk about Thirsty by Mia Hopkins. This is a single parent romance following a ex-con. So he is formerly in prison. He is formerly like a gang member and he is trying to get himself on the like right side of the tracks. So he's staying with his friend who, and he's like crashing on the couch as he's like waiting for his brother to get out of prison. And he's like saving up his money and he doesn't quite have enough to get like his own place, and he gets kicked out. So he gets kicked out and he goes and he's trying to find somewhere to stay, and this woman who's our heroine's grandmother says, oh well, you can stay in our garage if you clean it, and you can stay here and like clean it up or whatever, and it's gonna be like super cheap rent. And our heroine finds out and she's like, no, you're not staying here, like you have a criminal record. Absolutely not. I have a kid, we're not doing this. So she's actually studying to like be a CPA, and she's trying to get like her life ready and like in order for her and her daughter, and she's trying to like make a better life for herself. And he's like, if you like, let me prove to you like that I can do this. And she was like, okay, you have 2 months. If you mess up one time, you're out of here. So she has a daughter, so this is single parent. This also has some of the gang activity in it. But yeah, this is a super fun romance. I really liked the characters. I really liked the story. The daughter was just enough not on page to make me happy, but just enough on page that I felt like she wasn't just a plot device. I enjoyed it. I really, really liked this. This audio specifically is absolutely phenomenal, and I seriously recommend checking it out. It is a quick read. I think you could get through it really, really fast, and I love it. It's super good. So next up we have one that I will not shut up about, and that is the Vampire Queen series, and that is, the first book is Vampire Takes Knights. This is a polyamorous story. I'm trying to not say reverse harem, even though that's technically what this is. It's polyamorous. This is one woman taking on multiple partners. She is a vampire. She is believed to be a human. She thinks she's a human, and she finds out pretty early on in the story she's actually not. She's been chased by these beings that are thralls, which are basically rogue vampires, her entire life, and she hasn't understood why. And she meets these two men who are saving her, and she has no idea why she's so attracted to them and why she's so attracted to not only them but also their blood specifically, like literally the blood that comes out of them. And it's because she's a vampire and she is a vampire queen. And they're calling her my queen, and she's very confused, and she is just unnerved by the entire situation. And she then realizes she is one vampire queen. She is the last in the house of the Isidore household, in the Isidore line, and she has to take blood on in order to form a nest and become powerful and to protect herself from these other queens and these other beings that are there to hurt her. So the first one, she only takes on 2 blood, but as the story goes on, there are eventually up to about 10, I think is what I counted. So 10 different people in the relationship with her. So yeah, it is very fun. It is addicting. It is super short, so it's super fast to fly through. This one is absolutely wild. There are so many twists and turns in the story, and there are so many different things going on that this one will definitely keep you interested enough to read it all the way through. This one busted a reading slump for me. So the last book I want to talk about is Anyone But Her by Erica Lee. This is an LGBT romance. This is a female, so it's sapphic. So in this one we have Reagan, who lives with her best friend Jamie. Jamie is a openly gay man, but he's closeted back home, and he has told his family that he has a girlfriend named Reagan. That's why they live together. They're super religious, and they think that they are super serious and they are on their way to getting married, essentially. So Reagan is like, fine, I will go home with you and I will deal with this with you, but it's only because I love you. So she thinks she's gonna be meeting Jamie's brother, but actually she is meeting Jamie's sister Charlie. She's always identified as straight. She has always been in the closet, essentially, so no one, not even her brother, knows that she is actually gay and she is attracted to women. And she has had relationships with women when she was away, but she is never out to her family or her brother or anyone close to her. It is Reagan and Charlie and them fighting their attraction to one another and their want to be together and trying to like learn how to interact, and them coming together and like forming this relationship is super cute. They're very sweet together. Them trying to discover what they actually want is very sweet. I read this very, very quickly. This is an own voices story. The characters in this one, the brother specifically, is a little bit hard to agree with and understand because he truly believes that Reagan is only going after straight women, and he doesn't believe his sister is gay and that she is also in this relationship willingly. He kind of has this idea that Reagan is only trying to turn his straight sister rather than actually going after someone who's also gay too. And I felt it was a little hard to get on board with just because Jamie is also gay, so he's never told his sister that he's gay, and she's never told her brother that she's gay, so like they're both keeping that they're gay from each other. So I felt like that was a little hard on him because he's also keeping this from her, so he should understand that she would also be keeping it for him. But other than that, the story is super, super fast paced. I was super in love with the characters. I was swooning over them. I felt like they were so well developed, and I really, really loved them. I flew through the story. I wanted to know what was going to happen to them. I wanted to know what was going to happen with their relationship. I wanted to know what was going to happen just every turn of the way with the story. I read this one in a day. Like, I truly read this one in one sitting. All right, so those are all of the books that I recommend you read if you want to read books in a sitting. If you want to read some books in a sitting, make sure you are going to Jessica's channel. I've linked it in the description as well as her video. So if you want to check out what she recommends that you can read in one sitting, you can do that. And if you want links to any of these books that I have talked about, they are linked down below. And then I also have all my socials linked down below if you want to be my friend on any other platform. With that being said, I will chat with you all in my next video. Bye everyone.